Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Just want to make sure everybody's awake. So today we have a guest speaker, Mr. Randy Mayeux. He's a professor here at Eastfield. He's a speech communications professor. He was my professor when I took communication, and he does a lot out in the community. He has a morning breakfast that I think he is these leadership lectures on the book that he's read, and you have so many individuals come out and they all network and listen to what Mr. Mayeux has to say. And so we wanted to invite him and to speak a little bit about what he does and why Phi Theta Kappa, you should join Phi Theta Kappa. So we can go ahead and have Mr. Mayeux come up.
I'm nearly out and they're bringing some more. So this side of the room is the group side from here over. Well, greetings. Let me say that I'm not going to talk about what I do. I'm going to give you a presentation. That was what Santiago and LaHanson asked me to do. I am delighted. This is the second time that I have spoken for your organization, and this is a great turnout. Now, I think you all know that Eat, Pray, Love is the book and the movie that got a lot of attention, and so Santiago said, we want you to talk about Lead, Serve, Love. So let me tell you that I spend a lot of time reading books. I professionally present book synopses. I was in Vail, Colorado last Saturday doing a book presentation to 100 people who give millions and millions of dollars away through conferences and foundations. And so I do this in business audiences. I'm going to Orlando, Florida next week to do 2 book briefings, book presentations. And what you're going to see on the handout in a few minutes and in this brief presentation are quotes from key books. And all of that will be under a theme. Let's think for a minute about leadership. Leadership. One of my favorite simple movies is a movie called Peacemaker, The Peacemaker, with George Clooney and Nicole Kidman. Anybody here seen Peacemaker? Nobody. All right. She is in charge of a government program over what happens if a nuclear bomb gets in the wrong hands. But she is in charge because the leader has left and they don't yet have the new leader, so she's the interim leader. Well, there are some nuclear bombs stolen, and she is standing in front of 4 generals, and the guy says, you're in charge, and the 4 generals look at her with this look of, what do we do now? And she has this look of, oh my goodness, I am the leader. And in a matter of seconds, she starts spurting out orders. They go and disperse and do it. And leadership is the person who is looked to on what to do next. That's the idea. And if you aspire to business success, life success, you will be a leader. You're going to lead your family. You may lead in your company. You may lead in your community. All of that. And so I'm going to test your followership for a minute. Get ready. Raise your hand if you are intending to vote in the November election. This is pretty good. For those of you who aren't, I've got one comment to make. Shame on you. Shame on you. How can you be an active part of our community if you're not intending to vote? Well, the people who vote then get involved, they get active, and then they help choose their leaders, and some of them end up wanting to become leaders. All right, everybody got the handout now? Take a look at the handout, and you'll see that I've got 3 main points. Number 1, leaders who lead create energetic followers. Number 2, leaders who serve create loyal followers. And number 3, leaders who love create enthusiastic followers. So those are the 3 points, and the simple message is that leaders have followers or they are not leading at all. So let's look at the first one on your handout. Leaders don't do, they encourage others to do. If I'm going to do the job myself, then I'm not leading others, I'm just a worker. The leader encourages workers to do, other people to do. But leaders model with good work ethic and a willingness to tackle the job at hand these leaders go first, they take the lead. Let me tell you about one of the great leaders in Dallas history. His name was Herb Kelleher. Anybody recognize the name Herb Kelleher? Who was Herb Kelleher?
Is he a former football player?
No, wrong guy, wrong arena. He was the head man, started, and the leader until he retired of a little company you may have heard of called Southwest Airlines. Very successful airline. Herb Kelleher is a legendary leader. And every year on Christmas Eve, he would go out to Love Field, put on a Santa Claus suit, and help the baggage handlers load and unload luggage. Now this is the CEO who would go out and help the baggage handlers load and unload luggage. He himself would actually load and unload luggage. There's your example right there. He was the model, and he had an enormous work ethic, and consequently, he created energetic followers. Leaders energize others. They don't drain or diminish their followers. So here's a quote. It's on your handout from a book called Multipliers, How the Best Leaders Make Everyone Smarter. Here it is. Some leaders seem to drain intelligence and capability out of the people around them. Their focus on their own intelligence and their resolve to be the smartest person in the room had a diminishing effect on everyone else. For them to look smart, other people had to end up looking dumb. A key element of good leadership is you raise everybody, the reputation of everybody, the praise for everybody. You're not after the praise yourself. You are wanting others to receive the acclaim. So, you're not out to make others look dumb. They create a vortex, these bad leaders, that sucks energy out of everyone and everyone around them. These leaders are idea killers and energy destroyers. Other people's ideas suffocated and died in their presence, and the flow of intelligence came to an abrupt halt around them. Around these leaders, intelligence flowed only one way, from them to others. Other leaders used their intelligence in a fundamentally different way. They applied their intelligence to amplify the smarts and capability of people around them. People get smarter and better in their presence. Ideas grew. Challenges were surmounted. Hard problems were solved. These leaders weren't just intelligent themselves. They were intelligence multipliers. Perhaps these leaders understood that the person sitting at the apex of the intelligence hierarchy is the genius maker, not the genius. And so the first key of a leader is the leader does not care how well he or she is doing. He cares about how well the followers are doing. Leaders who lead create energetic followers. Number two, leaders who serve create loyal followers. You ever heard the phrase servant leadership? That is a phrase that was coined by Robert Greenleaf in a book called Servant Leadership. You'll see a quote from the book here. He was the first human being that I know of to use the phrase servant leader and servant leadership. The servant leader is servant first. It begins with the natural feeling that one wants to serve first. Then conscious choice brings one to aspire to lead. The desire to lead comes out of a desire to serve. That person is sharply different from one who is leader first. The leader first and the servant first are two extreme types. The best test is, do those served grow as persons? Do they, while being served, become healthier, wiser, freer, more autonomous, more likely themselves to become servants? And what is the effect on the least privileged in society? Will they benefit, or at least not be further deprived? So, servant leader, leaders who serve, create phenomenally loyal followers. If there are no followers, there is no leader. And if the leader does not have a servant heart, there are no followers. Take your pen and get ready. Without a servant heart, you can't have compliance, circle compliance. That's kind of forced obedience. That doesn't work well. Compliance is not what you're after. What you want is followership. People who choose to follow the leadership of the leader. There's a lot written about the value of followership, but it is only created by leaders who serve first. Number 3 is leaders who love create enthusiastic followers. Now we're kind of a weird era. If somebody says, I love you, then we end up thinking weird things. They're trying to come on to me. They're trying to somehow do something that's not appropriate. But history says that love changes the world. And there's plenty written about leadership and love. One of the greatest speakers I ever heard was a woman from Texas named Barbara Jordan. She is a great speaker, was a great speaker. And she said the whole ball game is love. We've got to learn to love. So on your sheet, if there is no love, there is no passion, no enthusiasm. Here's a quote from a wonderful book by Dennis Bakke called Joy at Work. The most important character traits of a leader are humility, the willingness to give up power, courage, integrity, and love and passion for the people, values, and mission of the organization. Ask yourself, who or what do you love? Now, I admit that I love Blue Bell. I don't love the Dallas Cowboys. I used to. I love movies. But the only question that really matters is, Randy, do you love people? Look at the end of this quote. Some of us love winning. Some love competition. Some love analysis and strategy development. Some love to make machines do more than anyone else thought possible. Some love the exercise of power over others. Some love to design and implement intricate systems. Some love money, the more the better. Leaders who create dynamic, rewarding, enjoyable workplaces love people. So here it is. It's very simple. You, as the people in this room, people who aspire to doing very well in college and then very well in life, you want to be leaders. Here's your test. Do you lead? Leaders who lead create energetic followers. Do you serve? Leaders who serve create loyal followers. And do you love? Leaders who love create enthusiastic followers. I commend you for taking this hour of your time coming to think about loving and serving and leading, and I'm honored that you asked me to be here. I've got to slip out and go give another presentation right now, about 20 minutes away. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.